Well, hi everyone. Well, you know me, I'm the old bull, and beside me is my beautiful wife, Amanda, who most of you will know as Laudable, and she's CMO at Playable. So today is a general chat. We're just going to have a chat between ourselves, and people have asked us to talk about how we got to where we got to. So we've sort of thought, what does that look like?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
And a long answer.
And a long answer, that's right.
Well, we were talking about it, and you said we go back to when we met. But then we kind of need to go back before we met because we're both entrepreneurs and we're different entrepreneurs. So you were more, your expertise was in the intangible stuff, and my expertise was in tangible stuff. You were in your 30s, I was in my late 20s, so...
You were 27.
Yeah, we were both doing our own thing, and neither of us really worked much for other people. We did it, kind of didn't work out that well.
Well, I think that's true. I think when you're a
when you're a true entrepreneur, I think you actually would find that really difficult to work with someone else.
It's very hard to toe the line that I suppose to build someone else's dream is really hard when you got a bunch of your own. So both of us had like a lot of dreams that we wanted to fulfill, and I think when you work for other people, you that can be hard. That can be really hard, and also other people don't necessarily want you to be successful. They want you to make them successful. Yes. So there's not a. It's sometimes
it's a totally different mindset, and it's also a mind fuck if you actually do want to drive something forward, whether you own it or not. If you're not in a position where you can do that, it's much harder. I remember my mum saying to me, "Why can't you just be happy with blah?" And I remember saying to her, "I wish I could be happy with just blah, Mum, but I can't." And when I set myself a goal and then I achieve it, I set myself another one. Yeah. And I don't want to just stay in one place. That's not who I am. So,
and what was my mum's most common?
She wasn't happy to hear that. Your mum was, Jonathan. Why can't you just get a company car?
Yep.
And a good job.
If you could just get a job with a company car, you'd be so happy. And I got a job with a company car and I wasn't happy.
Well,
so, yeah. All right. So let's go. So you started out in design. You won a whole bunch of competitions in your teenage years.
Yes.
And you're you won this Cafe Big Break Award in Australia, which is a big design comp.
Unreal. And then I thought of the idea of opening a boxer short shop. And here's, someone giving me some money to say, well, go for it. I get an enormous amount of freedom. That's my aim and that's my goal, and I've done it. Then I'm a success in my own mind. Then definitely enter.
Call the number or check out the website.
And you had Jenny Key, one of Australia's top designers, say that...
I was. I don't like to use this word lightly, but I realise it is true. My auntie just died and she's responsible for it, but I was a child prodigy. I did do things as a child that most adults couldn't do.
Yeah.
So, she saw that in me. I didn't see it in myself because I was too young to. So... I won a lot of things, did a lot of things, didn't really think, I thought everyone was like me. I just thought everyone could just design stuff and make stuff and win stuff, and I didn't think it was special to me at all.
Yeah.
So,
And so you went from that to your own shop?
Yes, well, I got a job, see. Someone wanted to snap me up because I was so talented, got a job, which required me to move to a very small tropical Queensland surfing town, and be a designer in their surfwear factory. Yeah, they just wanted to surf and they wanted me to run the business.
And design.
And I was 19, so I said to them in my interview, I don't want to be responsible. I am talented. Yes, I understand that, but I'm also young and I don't want to be responsible for running someone's business. So if you're in financial trouble, tell me now because I'm not the right person for you. And they said, no, we're all good. We're this, we're that. So I got there and within days I realised they were in financial trouble. So,
well, part of their trouble was they kept surfing and not working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, but it wasn't. It was actually the surfing part was a non-negotiable part of the day. So I used to go to the boys out the back that used to arrive first and say, what's the surf like today? And I would know from the answer to that question whether the owners were going to be in early or late. Then I go, okay, they're going to be in at 8 o'clock. Everyone, get ready. And if the surf was good, I knew that it was 10:30, 11. They'll come in.
6 foot and glassy smooth.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so it didn't take me long to start my own thing when I realised that. So,
all right, so let's move to Hastings Street. So you did all that, and then how'd you get to Hastings Street?
Saw a cartoon in the paper there was a movie called Strictly Ballroom, and there was a cartoon in the paper of two politicians, one in a pair of boxer shorts, and it said something to do with Strictly Ballroom, and I just went, what a great name for a boxer short shop. Anyway, that was it. I couldn't get it out of my mind. And then I found a shop.
Ballroom being a play on room for your balls.
Yes.
In boxer shorts.
Yes. So I opened Strictly Ballroom in Hastings Street, got in the paper I just found the name of a cool shop, got in the paper, and then that started that. And then I had a letter from the movie to say you can't use the name, cease and desist, basically. And I went, oh, really? That's a bummer. So I changed it to Simply Ballroom, and yeah.
The rest is history.
I was there for 4 years, and then I moved to Melbourne.
Yeah. All right. So my brief background came up through sales and ended up running sales teams, like proper door-to-door sales teams. And then ended up
the grind, Jono. The grind sales teams. It hurts just thinking about it.
It does when you look back on it, just how much time and effort that took. But yeah, it was like you talk about hard work. That was hard work, and it was hard emotionally. The money came in spits and spats, and there was long times in between. And by the time you paid your bills, you're off on broke and had to go back to work again next week broke. So I got better and got up to where I ran teams and had my own companies, and then ran other people's teams, and then sort of went into my own business where I met Mickey and with stuff we did in Perth. But I suppose we should jump to where I met you. I suppose that's a good thing. I was running a sales team for a multi-millionaire guy in Melbourne.
Yep.
And
I was at the end of my 4 years, nearly
lease in
5
Melbourne.
years in lease in Melbourne.
Yep. And I said to a very good friend of mine at the time, I need a very beautiful woman to date this weekend. And he flicked he literally just like shuriken through the business card across the table, and it spun through the air, landed on the table, and then spun until it stopped in front of me. I've actually got that card right here.
Oh, my God.
This is the card.
The story of the card.
This is Amanda Jane when she was 27 years old or thereabouts.
And a friend of mine who was a portrait photographer took the photos of the stuff that I used to make and said, you should wear it. And I'm like, oh, really? And she finally convinced me to do that. And then, that was at the end of a very long day of taking photos, and I was so over her and over all of it. I was just sitting on the step. She took my photo, and then she said, you have to use that on all your stuff for your shop.
All your
and
stuff.
I'm like, no, that won't be happening. And she goes, no, I'm telling you, you have to. And finally I went, oh, all right. And, yeah, that's how it came
there
to
you go.
be
So
on the card.
So Mark flicked that across. And so being a salesperson and having quite a bit of experience with young women at that stage in my life, I knew that if I rung you up and told you what I thought, which was, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, we need to go out for lunch, you would run a million miles.
Okay. Blah, whatever.
Yeah. So instead, I rang my good friend Michael, our CEO in Perth, and I said, Michael, can I have the centre spread of your magazine that you publish? And he had a wedding magazine that he published. And he says, what for? I said, there's this girl in Melbourne I want to ask out, and she's got a pajama shop. She makes these really high quality fashion pajamas. And I want to do a centre spread on her, but I want to use it as a way to meet her. And Mickey, being Mickey, said, okay, the centre spread's yours. And so
as long as it doesn't cost me anything.
As long as it doesn't cost anything. So, yeah.
You can do it.
So I rang Amanda and I left a message on the voice machine. And I was what you would call a C-grade celebrity at the time, because I was doing a lot of on radio advertising at the time. And people knew my voice. So I said something along the lines of, I don't know if you know me, my name's Jonathan Bosanquet, and I've just got your card here in front of me, and a friend of mine has asked, could I come out and have a look at your shop? And Mickey had just been in Melbourne, but he had to go back to Perth for business. And so I sort of framed this a little bit that, Mickey wasn't able to catch up with you. So he's asked me, could I do it? And so I'd like to take you out for lunch, have a talk about your business. I want to have a look at the shop. And if we think it's appropriate, we've got a centre spread in whatever magazine it was. And, so off I went. And when I turned up, you looked out through your little crack in the wall to see me come through the shop, and you said to your assistant, what did you say?
He's fat and bald.
He's fat and bald.
The poor thing is fat and bald. And he's exactly on time. He said 12 o'clock and it was like 11:59.
I'm always
50
early.
seconds.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh, shit.
If you're not early, you're late. So, yeah.
The poor thing is fat and bald. And she berated me and said,
you didn't want to go. You said to her, go out and tell him.
I said, I'm not going. I said, go and tell him I'm busy. And she pulled the pins out of my top. She berated me, told me to get over myself, basically, and be nice, be the person that she knows I am, and go out there and have a nice lunch.
Because it's being bought for you, you selfish bitch. Yeah. Anyway, so I took her out for lunch.
It sounds so bad.
It was bad. You're a judgmental bitch. You're a typical pretty girl with just your choice of buffet. Anyway, I knew that. I knew that was what I was up against. And I also knew that women are putty in my hands if I have a quiet table and lots of time to talk. And so at the end of lunch, what happened? Can you remember?
You asked me out the next night and I said I was free. And then I went, shit. And you went, what? And I said, my girlfriend told me that if someone asks you out, you always have to check because you're busy and booked. And so I broke the rules. The second I had the opportunity to break a rule, I broke the rule, and that was it, really. So
that was it. It was all over Red Rover. So yeah, you don't have to be good looking, and you don't have to be super fit and handsome to pick up beautiful women. You just need to listen to them and care for them. And if you do that, they like it.
It's true.
Yep, it is true.
I want to say it's not true, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway, so she's put up with me all this time, 22 years.
Well, apart from all that shenanigans, we did it off straight away. So
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All right, so let's skip forward. We did a whole bunch of shit between then and now. Let's leave out most of it. But what are some of the highlights? What are some of the things we did business-wise together? We went to Bali to sell pants. So we took your pants business.
Yeah, so we need to say probably that, your whole team came around to our house and said, if you want to leave this dude and start your own, we'll all cover you.
Oh, okay.
So, and then we had 3 kids.
All right. Well, let's go back to that story then, and we'll tell that story quickly. So I was a millionaire when I was younger for a brief couple of seconds. I ended up running a very big sales team, 16-person, direct sales still, but much more corporate. And we had very big advertising budgets, and we sold $12,000 product. And I was very good at it, and I ran the team and trained the team, and I made a lot of money. And
you were not only a good salesperson, you were a great leader. And all the guys that worked for you loved working for you. All like Shoda, you never had a problem with people being half-assed about a really difficult job. So, I mean, yes, you had guys come and go, but you also had a large group of guys that just stuck with you to the point where when it went pear-shaped, they all came round to our house and said, we'll follow you. We'll leave this guy.
Well, hang on. We should say when it went pear-shaped.
Oh.
I had contracts. So the contract was I had to build the business to this size, and if I did, all my money would come through. And so I built the business to that size. So I did all the hard work of building it all up over 4 months. I think it was 4 months. And we got to that size. We just hit our first major target, which means my money would unlock and I'd make millions. And I had share options in that company. It was a publicly traded company. And they sacked me. Instead of paying me out what they owed me, they sacked me. And so I had a lot of money. So I said to Amanda, let's go to Tasmania, which is an island at the bottom of Australia. It's part of Australia, but it's one of the islands. And let's go to Tasmania for a week, and we'll just decompress and work out what we're going to do. And when we got back from Tasmania, my PA and the whole team had come around to our house and basically said, if you want to start your own version of this, we'll back you. We'll come with you, which was a really big thing because these sort of businesses, there's as we worked out, there's a 4-month incubation period where it doesn't make much money, and it's a big boys game. It was $500,000 to start, and that was 20 years ago. So it was $500,000 to start. So yeah, it was a big thing for them to say that, and so they were all going to leave him and come and work for me if I wanted to do it. And I turned to Amanda and said, well, what do you think? And your answer was, what's the worst that can happen? And
famous last words.
Well, I think we've both lived our life by that, haven't we? It's like,
yes,
if you look at what's the worst that can happen and you can live with that, and the worst that could happen was we go broke, and we've been broke. And so we took it and we did it, and we started Mint, which was our company, and it was this similar product. It was a share trading type system. It needed to sell 13 units in a month to pay its bills. I had 2 floors in Burke Street, 1,000 square meters in Burke Street of office space, and we had 2 seminar rooms, and we had 20 offices and a golf driving range and everything inside. It was great. But first month we sold 12, second month we sold 13, and the third month we sold 150. So we were back. We were on the boil, and it was great. Money was flowing. It was just wonderful. And then the Australian government came and told me I was breaking the law and I needed to go to jail, which wasn't true in any way, shape, or form. So we went to court, and I won in court and lost everything in the process because they kept me in court while my business imploded. So it was a disaster. We lost everything. And luckily, since I'd been quite well known, I got offered a really good gig with a builder, and I had good money. We had started having kids, and that sort of led into the next very long period of time where you're raising kids.
I kept my business going after 2 of them, had the first two, and then the third time I said to Jono, I'm out. I gotta stay home for a few years.
Yeah.
If 3 kids in 3 years doesn't tell me that I've got to stay home, then I don't know what will. So let's, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, we can. Which we did. So I didn't do anything for about 10 months, and then I started my second label.
Yep.
When I had 3 kids at home. So
yeah, so Amanda went to Yamundi Markets and started her second label, and called Pants for Kids. We did a little pants business, making beautiful boxer short, not boxer shorts. They were like denim pants for children, but
easy wear, easy care pants for kids.
Yeah, and that went really well. But Amanda's week was, if she sold a lot, she had to go to the markets, which was 2 hours drive away. So she'd leave home and drive 2 hours at 3:30 in the morning, arrive at 5:30 in the morning, set up, sell 100 pair of pants in that morning, the next 4 hours or 5 hours, pack up, drive home, spend 3 full days sewing another 100 pairs of pants herself, cutting out sewing, drive back up on a Saturday, rinse and repeat, sell 100 pairs of pants, come home, next 3 days, make 100 pairs of pants, drive up and sell. This went on for what, 3 years, 4 years?
From 2004 I started to 2010, so nearly 6 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. So, and at the end of that, we went to Bali to manufacture. We'd been told that the best thing for us to do is not to keep manufacturing in Australia, but to go to Bali and manufacture there. And we did a deal with some people that bought our Australian retail business idea, and they were going to run the Australian business, and we were going to manufacture in Bali. So we moved our whole family to Bali, sold up everything, went, and
the kids were 7, 8, 9 by this stage. So
yeah, yeah, we'll have to show that beautiful photo of young Bull and me in Bali at breakfast that day. But yeah, so we got there and our first order never turned up. And then our second order didn't turn up. And so this is now the end of the third month or whatever, and the second order hasn't turned up. And when the third order didn't turn up, I got my auntie who lived in the Gold Coast to go round to the main store that they had and find out what stock they were selling, because they weren't buying it from us. And they were using Amanda's designs that they'd made in China. They'd copied all Amanda's designs. And then to save $1 per pair of pants, they'd cut us out and stolen the whole idea. So I jumped on a plane back to Australia and went to court, and we won. And but in Australia, you don't get punitive damages. We won the right to stop them doing what they were doing, and we'd lost how many hundreds of thousands in that transaction.
And you and I had probably 6,000 pairs of pants.
Yep, that they hadn't ordered, that they were supposed to have ordered.
That we got made and they hadn't taken. So we came back to the market, and you and I were like we had 2 separate stalls, 2 parts of the market, and him and I were on. Who's going to win today?
There was a challenge every Wednesday and Saturday. Who could sell the most pants?
And I get a call. Do you have Navy surfboard in size 8 and 10? And I'm like, I'll check.
Yeah. If you've got pink hibiscus in size 7, I do. Yes.
Oh, it was funny. It was so funny.
We made a shit ton of money selling those pants.
And then he'd ring and say, I sold this many pants, and I'd ring and say, oh, he sold 2 more pairs than me. And I'd like literally be haggling people as they walk past. I didn't want him to. And that was a hard time, but it was also fun.
It was fun. Yamundi's a beautiful place. It's next to Noosa,
yeah, we had fun.
Which is the best, well, one of the top beaches in Australia. It's a north-facing beach, and it has a nice break onto rocks. So it's got a nice rock break. And Hastings Street, which is the main street in Noosa, is world-renowned. But
and when we came back from Indonesia, we didn't go back to the Gold Coast. We went back to the Sunshine Coast. So we didn't have the drive. I said I can't do
the
2-hour drive
enough,
anymore. Too. So, yeah, so I said that was a fun time. And then that led us into real estate.
It did lead us into real estate.
Yeah, it led us into real estate. And
so we started.
And actually, I need to say this part is when they stole my stuff, I was heartbroken.
Yeah,
I was actually heartbroken. I was a producer and a creator, and they took the thing from me that I thought you couldn't take from someone, and I was heartbroken. And I said, "That's it. I'm not sewing anymore. Not in the garage anymore." And I said, "What can I do? Like, what can I do? This is all I've ever done." And I think I was turning 40, wasn't I? And I said to you, "I need to do something else." So you said, "Well, my skills, I could do real estate." And I said, "Oh, maybe I could do that too." And so I did the get your license course, out of the cereal box 3-day course or whatever it was. And all of a sudden I'm a real estate agent. You need to be super qualified
to sell real estate, yep.
I was like, is that it? Is that all I had to do? So that started us on a course for real estate, which interestingly has come up a bit lately because it's very similar to what we're doing now, because we decided that real estate, doing it the way everyone else was doing it, wasn't good for people.
Well, I think we should take a step back from there, because when we started, we just said, you know what, we'll be ethical real estate people. So we started a real estate company and we called it Love, L-O-V-E, Love Real Estate. And Amanda designed a very Melbourne, we got told by a design expert logo guy at one stage.
It was too classy.
It was too classy for Queensland. They're much more down to earth people, so we changed it. But Love worked really well, and the marketing strategy we used in that was really good. We took like parables and homilies and home truths and stuff, and we wove them into stories, and we bought the back page of the Yamundi magazine every week, and we put that story on the back. So if you think of it like a story of, there's hundreds of them, but there was a whale being rescued, and they cut the whale out of all the net, and then the whale swam back and thanked them all, and it was obvious the whale was thankful and didn't just swim off and say, well, thanks for cutting that off. It actually came back and actually touched each of the divers and said thank you. And so then we
had people actually stop into our office and tell us how much they loved our back page.
Yeah, so our back page
had nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah, we used a marketing strategy where you don't talk about what you sell and what you do. You talk about what the people you want to talk to are interested in. And that led us, we did well with Love. Love was a good brand, and we got past the part where you don't make any money. We got to the part where we made money. And we had
and we also got royally FUCK'd multiple times, to the point where we lost more commission in the first year of being real estate agents than we earned, because
lost is the wrong word. We had stolen from us.
Stolen from us,
more commission, but we won't go into all that. That's just real estate. And we actually lost one of our very dear friends over it, because he was a real estate agent, and when one of his guys stole a sale from us, and I won't even go into what the guy did, but it was filthy behaviour, absolutely filthy behaviour of a human being to do to another human being, and he could have wrecked our business doing what he did. And then on top of that, our friend said, well, that's just real estate. And we just said, well, go fuck yourself then. If that's how you feel, you're not the sort of person we want to be friends with. So just disgusting behaviour. Anyway, so Love, we ended up in this situation.
And that affirmed, I was going to say, that did affirm something that we'd heard before, which was bad ideas make good people do bad things. That was perfect, scenario, and we just went, this is not real estate. This is to do with people. This is to do with moving. This is.
If you ever hear someone say business is business, it's just business, it's not personal, run for the hills. Those people have no morals. They have no understanding about what the world's supposed to be. They just think that ripping someone else off is good business. So, and they justify it by that saying. So that's just that's terrible. So we ended up in this really weird situation where we had just enough sales each month to pay all the bills. And Jet was doing full-time tennis, and Sam was doing, a lot of dancing, and Beth was doing whatever she wanted to do. So we were spending close to probably $1,000 a week running the kids in their activities. But after that, we didn't have much money left over. We were always one sale short of really getting ahead. And so we sat in the office one day and we said, so what's the hardest part of real estate? Where do we spend all our time? And so Amanda wrote up on a whiteboard. You can see behind me, I've got a whiteboard here. We call this taking it to the wall. And I think geniuses can do this in their head. I'm not a genius, but I can do it on the wall. You put everything up on the wall, and then you break it all down and you rearrange it and stuff. Yeah, Amanda's got a wall as well in her office. So that's one of the things we both do. We take it to the wall and we move things around on the wall. But when we spent a couple of days looking at this on the wall, we realized that in real estate, the huge time sink is showing people houses. So someone says they want to buy a house in the area, and so you drive them around showing them all the different houses. And being an expert salesperson, I knew you can't sell someone a house. You just can't do it. It's just almost impossible. People will only buy a house they fall in love with. Now, there's exceptions to that, but that's a very good base rule. The selling in real estate's done to the vendor on listing with your company. That's where all the selling happens. So we thought if we could get rid of this time sink where we're just driving people around looking at 5 houses, 8 houses, 10 houses, if we could get rid of that, we could really be profitable, and we could actually run more listings than what we were running, like 3 times, 5 times more, which means we'd have more chance of selling more houses. So we looked at, I spent a lot of time researching things, and I knew quite a bit about how real estate worked around the world. And there's an English system where they don't get a real estate agent to show the house. The owner of the house shows the house. And I said to Amanda, why couldn't we do that? Why couldn't we get the owner here they know the house better than we do. They've done all the renovations.
I said, let's do that. Let's do that. It was a great idea. And you went, I don't know if it's going to work here.
Well, we weren't sure. We didn't. Well, it was a big risk, wasn't it? We didn't know it was going to work.
It's true. And I just said, what have we got to lose? What have we got to lose?
Well, what we had to lose was it was going to be half commission. So we were going to give half the commission to the vendor. So a commission on a big house, we were selling $1 million houses, and a commission on those houses is about 20 grand. So it was 10 grand being given back to them.
We had someone sitting at the table who was going to list with us regardless, and we felt comfortable enough to say, this is what we're thinking about doing. Would you be interested in trying it?
Yeah.
And they went, yes.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to. We said, you think about it. Think about it first. And they went, no, we don't think about it. We love the idea, so let's try it. And how did that go again, Jono? One showing, one sale, the price they wanted within a percentage, a single percentage of the price they wanted, and we all just went, what just happened?
Yeah, it was surreal. It was
the perfect sale, the perfect real estate sale.
And that was a beautiful property too. So it was one of the best properties we'd ever listed. So we were really scared to test on that one, but it worked perfectly. And the rest is basically history. That business went on to do very well. Yeah. And
but the reason why it's come up a bit lately is because it was a very traditional industry run by the kinds of people, whether they're good people or bad people. It wasn't a nice industry to be in. And we turned that around to something that people actually came to us and said, I wish I had a house to sell. I'm so keen to list with you guys. I wish I had a house that I wanted to sell. And so the better we did at it, the more angry everyone else got.
Yeah.
And
People started spreading rumours about us around town, and because it's only a small country town. And when I say small country town, like it's a big country town. But yeah,
and we were challenging the status quo. We were repositioning real estate in a lot of people's minds, and they hated it to the point where the local newspaper, we wanted to advertise in the paper because everyone in real estate advertised in the paper, and the paper contacted us and said, we will not take your money to advertise. And we just went, what? Like, what do you mean?
And the girl actually told us that they had been threatened by bigger agencies that if they kept taking our money, the other agencies would stop. So,
So it was a confirmation that what we were doing was working, and it was also the beginning of the end because we just thought we just can't fight this anymore. For 5 years we've been doing it, and we just went, you know what, when's enough's enough? And when they didn't take our money for advertising, we just went, well, what do we do? So we did other forms of advertising, which sort of worked, but we needed to be in the paper. We needed to be beside everyone else. And
during that time, we did float as well, didn't we?
Yes. At the end of that, yes.
So I'd been listening to a podcast, and the person said in the podcast, we're living in a really interesting time. We're living in a time where the largest TV station in the world, YouTube, doesn't produce any of its content. The largest hotel chain in the world
doesn't own any property.
The largest online seller doesn't own any things. The largest car company, the car rental company or taxi service, doesn't own any cars. And they said, what's going to be the next thing, like the next thing like Uber or like... And so I started really thinking about that would be a good thing to work out. And I have a love of boating. I really love beautiful yachts. And there's a problem with yachts, and that is that the average usage of a yacht is 16 days a year. So you spend multi-millions of dollars, or even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars buying a yacht, and it literally doesn't get used almost the whole year. You only use it a few times a year. So it just suddenly just clicked into place that, you know what, Australia really needs that because we've got beautiful waterways and we've got lots of great places to boat and we've got lots of people that love the water. So I started a thing called Float, Flote, and Amanda rang a friend of hers in Sydney who worked for a major paper, and he called in several favours for us and got us basically page 2 launch, and it went off. We literally hit it out of the park. Like on day 1, day 2, whatever it was, it just went boom. Radio stations were ringing us. What is this idea? How's it going to work? How are you going to pay people? You know, et cetera, et cetera. And everyone was so excited about it. And I had a lawyer as my partner. We got a lawyer involved, one of the top Australian maritime lawyers, and he knew the law was on our side because of what Uber had done and Airbnb, how they all worked. And so it was all looking fantastic. And then the Queensland government literally just said, we're not going to allow it. And so at this particular point in time, Australia is the only Western country in the world without any boat sharing companies.
I think they've got one now, haven't they?
Apparently someone said they're starting one, But every other Western country in the world has 2 or more of these businesses running.
Well, and that was 2015, so we're now 8 years later. So it has taken
a long
while
time.
to
But that was probably my favourite thing I ever got off the ground because it was just great. And surprisingly, there were so many people contacting us about wanting to rent their boats, and because it just made so much sense. You turn that basic loss into a break even at least, and possibly a small profit.
Yeah, but they did have their boats threatened to be impounded if they.
Oh yeah, no, the government totally just came down and was like a ton of bricks and just said you can't do it. And so they actually said to all captains, we called our vendors captains. They said to all our captains, they actually put a notice out to all of them and said, if you use this service, we will actually take your boat. So,
Impound your boat.
welcome
Bollocks.
to a free country, Australia, the free country. Anyway, so yeah, so then we decided
that led us to go.
we've
had enough. We've had enough of the country. Maybe we need to go back to the city.
Maybe we better go and get a degree in marketing and just get a real job. I think that's. I was what, 50? Was I just somewhere around there?
2015, yeah.
So around 50. And so basically we moved back to Melbourne, and started doing study. So I've done a lot of marketing in my life, but not formally. So I've always been interested in PR and how marketing works, and I'd studied it informally but not formally. So I went back to Griffith University, and I did my degree, and then I did my master's. And Amanda decided, since I was going to do that, she'd do it as well. So we did it sort of together, which was hard because we had to keep doing two.
I found it.
You found that
you
course.
Did it with me.
Yeah,
yes.
That's true. So I was going to do a master's in marketing, and Amanda found a better course than what I had. The Griffith course was much better. So we went and did that one. But it was really hard because since we were doing it together, we couldn't do the same subject. So I had to do, if there was 3 subjects to choose from, I'd do Virgin Airlines and Amanda would do, Coles supermarkets or something. So we couldn't copy each other's work, which was really annoying. But it worked out okay. And she got better scores than me, slightly.
Of course I did.
Yes.
Well, during this time, we had kids at high school. Then we had our youngest leave high school. Then we had Jet, young bull, go, I'm going to leave school too. Well, you can't leave school unless you're earning money, yada, yada. And he figured out a way to play games for almost a full-time salary, which we're just like, that's really annoying. And that started the whole...
Well, we should probably frame that how it actually was. So his sister, Beth, came in one day at 14 years. Was she 14? 15.
No, 15.
She was 15, and she came in and she said, I want to quit school. I hate school. It's not for me. The boys are much smarter than me. I'm not very smart. And we said, that's just a lie. You all got A's all through school. You're all smart. She goes, no, I hate school. It's not for me. I can't do it. And so me, being the genius I am, said, I'll tell you what, Beth, if there's 2 weeks school holidays coming up, stay at school until the 2 weeks school holidays. And then in that 2 weeks, totally impossible to do this, but in that 2 weeks, if you can get an apprenticeship, then you can leave school. But you can't leave school without an apprenticeship.
Yeah, we just said,
and Amanda and I were high-fiving ourselves behind when she left the room. We were like, woo!
I know, how
She's
clever
going back to school. She's going back to school. And about a week later, she had 2 apprenticeships offers and a third
and a possible third.
And a third one begging her for a second interview. And we were just flabbergasted. So she left school at 15, just walked out, and she's just completed her hairdressing apprenticeship now, this last couple of months. She's a fully qualified hairdresser and doing very well in a high-quality studio. But then that wrecked Young Bull. So Jet just totally lost it. Him being at school when Beth wasn't, his brain just couldn't handle it. And he just started saying, I don't want to be here. And so we started talking about, we said the same thing to him. Okay, we got to get an apprenticeship.
He did all his homework in class, so he never had homework.
Yeah, he'd do it in class or at lunchtime. So he could play WoW when he got home. The second he got home, he played WoW. So he had no homework. But basically, he went out to look for apprenticeships. And unlike Beth, everything he went for just mucked him around. They made him promises. He worked for a mechanic for a couple of weeks for free, basically, or not for free. He got paid for that, but for less than normal wages. And then the guy said, yeah, we'll give you a job. And then the guy didn't give him a job. Then he went and did a barista's course and He was really trying to get something, and nothing happened. And then he came in one day and said, I'm just going to do some wow stuff while I'm looking for an apprenticeship. And we said, what do you mean do some wow stuff? He goes, I can sell some runs where I take people through and help them get good gear. Well, he earned $50,000 doing that. And that we said, well, you know what? If you can make money out of gaming, you can leave school. And so he did. So he just left. And during that time, he and I got into NFTs. And
yeah, I was gonna say the boys both had part-time job. Well, he had that job. Sam had a part-time job.
Yep.
Well, because he was doing he was the one who finished school.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a part-time job, and then you found the gala note.
Yep.
And then Jet gets in the van. Jet helps me one day and says, who else spent $1,500 on a JPEG? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he started telling me, and I'm just like, I don't understand what you're talking about, but it sounds insane. I'll just keep doing my thing. Thanks.
Yeah.
So it kind of went, while we were studying, we kind of went in two different directions. I stayed doing the job, keeping all the bills paid and everything.
Through the study, you actually did a marketing plan for one of your friends' businesses, and then they hired you full time to actually run their marketing for them while you were still studying.
Yeah.
And so you were doing a master's degree in marketing and running a full-time orange juice company's marketing. So you were bringing home the bacon.
So I was, and
Jet and I were fucking living, and we were living the dream. We were gaming every day and trading NFTs. Jet and I would do about 2 or 3 hours a day research.
Yeah, trading.
Then we'd go and spend 20 or 30 grand buying NFTs.
Yeah.
In like half an hour. And then we'd flip them 2 or 3 hours later or 5 hours later or the next day and make 20 or 30 grand, 1,000 profit.
I know.
It was
insane.
So insane.
I was just like, it must be all made up. I just totally switched off to it all because I didn't want to know. I just thought I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and we won't get, all the bills will be paid. We won't get evicted. I don't know what the boys are fucking doing, but I'll just, they whatever there is they're making, they can just keep doing that. And let's just see what happens.
The analogy ended up being that selling drugs couldn't be this easy. It was so the money was so stupid. It was insane. And Jet had a real knack for understanding what was good and what wasn't. And then I had the knowledge because I'd studied not NFTs, but I studied crypto in 2017's bull run, and then started writing a book on Bitcoin.
Yeah, you're always interested in it.
Yeah, well, from 2017, not early enough, unfortunately. I wish I'd got into the cycle before, but anyway. And then that led to our own NFT collection, which failed, and it failed because the timing was wrong. By the time we built it and got all the art done and totally mucked it up because we'd made it far too complicated, trying to make it better than it should have been, we launched too late and the NFT craze was dead. We just launched into this vacuum of no interest. And so we've actually got several node holders now who are from that original NFT collection because we offered them, if they'd bought an NFT, we gave them a free node to say sorry.
And we finished our degree at the end of that same year, 21.
Yep.
Over the Christmas and stuff was all about how do we do this? So
how do we make a gaming company? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was all out of the gala thing because while Amanda had been doing an orange juice company, I'd been working with a gaming company in Melbourne doing marketing for them. So, and I'd raised them $1 million from gala.
And raising money, yep.
So, yeah. And so that's how we found out about the gala node and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. That's a bit of a background, I suppose, on us.
So that's how we got from there to here.
From there to here.
From there to here.
Boy, oh boy. It was a crazy, it was truly a crazy, like when I look back on it, it's a crazy journey. And,
well, I said a lot of the things that we did, Flo, even the trading stuff where you butt heads with government agencies, and real estate is like, so crypto in a lot of ways is the perfect stop.
Yeah.
Is the perfect project for you because, a lot of people won't touch these sort of things because they are challenging very heavy traditional industries, which crypto is.
Yep.
With money. It's the holy grail of our modern society is fiat money, and it's being challenged right now. So, I think to be.
I think better than being challenged, it's being exposed.
Yes.
For what it actually is, which is a con.
Yeah, and is there a better way to do this? And
well, the sad thing is that fiat money would work if they treated it like Bitcoin. So
but they don't. They want to control. They want to control it, and
they want to be able to print whenever they feel like it. So, and that's not how fiat money should work. But anyway.
And when it comes to games, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That people can invest time and money in games, and it's theirs to do with what they want. So, you guys have spent years, tens of thousands of hours playing games.
Yeah.
And it's essentially amounted to nothing. And
games are life.
I know, games are life. And if we can change that in any way, shape or form, I think it's a really inherently good thing.
I think we should probably finish off by just talking about the last couple of weeks. It's been a very hectic time for us. Running a business like this is challenging, to say the least, for a whole bunch of different reasons.
What did we say the other day after what happened in the chat? Is that you got to have a strong constitution for this kind of project.
Yeah. Yeah, we got personally attacked by several people.
And it is personal. It's not just business, it's personal.
People should understand that our everything is in this. We don't even own a house.
Yes.
We've put every cent we have into this.
We left our whole life.
We left our home. Yeah, we left our
family,
country.
Everything in Australia to pursue this project in the best way that we could.
Yeah. And we've brought to this project everything that we are. So we've got everything that we have, we've put into it, and we've brought all of our experience from our life to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to make us successful. I think we've actually found a home. I think we've got a great community. And I think, these last couple of weeks with obviously our little discovery inside the game, that was a really horrible thing to find and be told about. And certainly nothing we want to be associated with. So it was obvious we had to spend the money to get rid of it, and it's been expensive and time consuming to get rid of. And then this last week with what we thought we were doing, just a wonderful gift to everyone, and it was interpreted by some as us trying to steal money from people. Like it was the exact opposite of that. We're trying to give you guys extra, so it's
I know. As I said, you and I are so prepared for the hits. We're prepared for, I don't know, I've never felt more ready to do something than I feel now to take this on. So, which is why I put my hand up for marketing, because I thought, it's the same vein as real estate. It's changing something that needs changing for the better. It's much bigger than us. And as I said, these things happen. The games every single part is important, but the mission is we've got to keep our eye on the prize, which is owning in-game assets. That's our mission. So we need great games to do that. We need community to do that. We need money to do that. We need resources, all the things we need, but we've got to keep our eye on what we're actually here for.
Yeah.
And not the little individual pieces. It's not just us. We don't rely on just us to make decisions. We have other people that we always bounce things off.
Yeah.
So we're not in a bubble where it's just us and we don't listen to anyone else.
People should see that we don't react quickly to some things. We take a day or two to talk amongst the exec team, and Michael's got great input. Daniel's got great input. Bo's got good input. Then we've got Jacinto and other people in the exec team that are they've got good depth. They're there adding advice and support. So when you've got a team like
said
this...
everything else we've ever done has been on our own.
Exactly.
This is the first time
we've never had funding, and that's the beauty. Like, people say, why crypto? The answer is just so simple. It's because we're funded. And when you're funded, you can go and hire expertise to do what you're not expert at. So, and
bootstrapping is hard. Yeah.
Bootstrapping.
And we've done that several times.
Well, yeah.
So,
and
we've created everything we've done. We've had to create out of nothing.
Yeah.
So, literally nothing. No, nothing to start with, and then no money on top of it. And that's why you and I are ready for this. We've been prepared for this. And that was what was hilarious about us studying and then Jet leaving school, and then COVID hit, and his first reaction was, Mum, I've been working for this. No, I've been training for this.
I've been training for this all
2
my life.
years.
No, all my life.
All my life. Yeah. So
to be locked in at home for 9 months on my computer.
I'm locked at home. I can only get Uber Eats, and I stay in my bedroom. He was just like, Mum, I'm in.
I've been training for this. I've been training for this all my life. That is Jet down to a T.
That was so funny.
That was
so funny.
Well, that's us.
That's us, Mr. and Mrs. Bull.
So I suppose we'll wrap it up there. Guys, this is a private, really, insight into who we are. Several people have asked for it. Amanda and I weren't quite sure whether we should do it, but there you go. It's done. So that's who we are. That's the bozos, as we call ourselves. And the old bull and laudable, and she's my girl, and I love her very dearly. And I know I'm a lucky guy, and we're doing the best we can to get this thing across the line and to get everyone out with the sort of rewards that we all hope we can get. So thanks.